that time again, folks. Put on your seatbelts. Time for the 4 to 5. Eric Chilton, Chad Silver, and Dancing Lauren Coleman.
Y'all know why I'm dancing?
Why?
Because it's Wednesday, it's hump day, it's hump
What can
day.
we got to come up with like an alliterative name for Wednesday to go along with dancing.
Wacky Wednesday.
Wobble Wednesday?
Wobble Wednesday.
Wobble Wednesday.
Wobble
yes.
Wednesday. I like that.
That's the only line dance that I like a lot. Yes.
Thanks for watching us on News 2, Fire Stick, Roku, and we're also on the WFMY News 2 app.
Coming up this half hour, we're going to be talking about this really cool idea where you name a cockroach after your ex and have it fed to an animal at the zoo.
I got a couple names for you guys, but I left those names in 2022.
Right, yeah,
We will talk
exactly,
about that,
exactly.
yes.
Yeah, we'll be talking about that this half hour. But first, topping the news today, a nationwide ground stop on flights has created a domino effect at airports across the country. An FAA system outage prompted a ground stop this morning between 6:30 and 9. Airlines had to delay thousands of flights. Flights have since resumed, but it could continue to be a messy day of travel. This right here is a live picture at PTI in Greensboro, where most flights have been delayed for much of the day. It was much busier earlier today when everybody was just kind of waiting for their flights to take off. The FAA says it hasn't figured out what caused this outage. If you are traveling today or even tomorrow, you should keep an eye on your departure as airlines get back to normal.
The dreaded delay sign was seen across U.S. airports today. The nationwide issue follows an overnight outage of a computer system that provides safety information to flight crews. Travelers had to quickly pivot to adjust to the unexpected pains.
We heard the news, so we thought we're just going to rent a car and not fly.
There are no more flights leaving today that would get us there on time, nor tomorrow, nor Friday.
This is the latest headache for travelers following flight cancellations over the holidays because of winter storms and a massive Southwest airline service disruption. Guys, it's just more and more and more anxiety. I mean, over the last couple of years, we've had all these issues that it's almost like anytime you have a flight booked, you're biting your fingernails. Is it going to be canceled? Is there going to be a delay? I mean, it's causing a lot of headache.
I hate it when you walk in, they just had the shot up behind us, now it's gone, but when you walk in and you just see delayed, or
Right.
whatever, and you know, like, oh,
You're going to get
here a
stuck
while.
somewhere,
Yep.
right? And you know, let me be clear that they have not determined what caused this, but every time we have some sort of nationwide system outage or failure with airlines, I'm thinking like, at what point are terrorists going to be responsible for something like this?
yeah, hacking
or
in
just
and-
hackers,
yep.
you know?
That's a
like,
good point.
I mean, think about it. I mean, you can cripple the entire travel industry with who
just
knows
one hacker.
who knows what. Yeah.
It's just so ironic. I don't know, you guys are probably too young to remember, but maybe you've seen it. But War Games was a movie with Matthew Broderick back in the early 80s where he was a high school kid that accidentally hacked into like the nuclear war computers. You know, it was a far-fetched.
Right,
but
sure.
still, on this lower level, it makes me think the same thing you're thinking. Somebody can get in and just disrupt, and that affects business. You know?
Also, you got to think about people's attitudes. You know, you were talking about the other day, if you're delayed or your flight is canceled, you're getting frustrated. So I think everyone just has to remember to be patient, and it's not the airline's fault. I mean, it's not the flight attendant's fault, or it's not the person working the front desk's fault. We just got to be calm, and hopefully all of this will be behind us soon.
Take a deep breath. That trickle-down effect, though, hopefully we'll get back to normal the next day or two, or next week, maybe. Let's talk about our forecast, though, because we do have some, this might cause some weather delays for flights as we look into your Thursday evening or Friday. You know what, and I'm thinking about this now in hindsight, with that system glitch happening earlier today, of course that trickle-down affects flights for the next day or two, and now we've got a possibility of rain and maybe even a thunderstorm or two on Thursday evening, especially in the deep south. So it depends on where you're headed, but we'll get to that in a minute. I'm getting ahead of myself. 55 in Greensboro, 57 Winston-Salem and High Point and Lexington, Asheboro. You're at 58, pretty comfortable. This is way above normal, about 10 degrees above normal for points to the south. Sanford's at 59 degrees. Our normal high is in the upper 40s, and to kind of put it into perspective, you're looking at that overnight low tonight, what our high temperature should be. 48 degrees tonight, clouds moving in tomorrow, late day showers and winds could pick up a little bit If we were to see a little isolated storm or two, I think this is more along the lines of maybe just a line of heavier rain and wind. But 61 degrees, again, that's 10 to 13 degrees above normal for most of us. Across the region right now, we'll go out to the wider shot. The second system is way back out to the west, but it will get here. It just takes it another day or two, and it looks like in the next 24 hours we'll see things change dramatically. High pressure to the south moves out of here. You see the clouds moving in. That's that rain and possible thunderstorm line, especially the farther south from us you go. So what does that do for temperature? So ahead of that front, we're mild. On the back side of the front, we get cool again. The normal high this time of the year is 49 degrees with an overnight low of 30, but we're at 61 tomorrow, 80% chance of late day showers and winds will pick up. It'll be breezy on your Friday with a 20% chance of a morning shower and a high of 49. Chilly weekend, but not bad, partly cloudy, 44 Saturday, 49 Sunday, and 52 on Monday for MLK Day.
California is back in Mother Nature's crosshairs with a new storm system bringing another round of heavy rain and wind and likely more flooding and mudslides. The storms have been blamed for at least 17 deaths in the past couple weeks.
Heavy snow is falling in the Sierras northeast of Sacramento, the latest wave in a weeks-long barrage of nasty weather in California. Several more feet of snow are expected before it's over. In much of the state, torrential rain and heavy winds have been the problem. Another double dose of that is headed to the San Francisco area. A state of emergency has already been declared in Marin County as residents brace for more flooding and possible property damage. To the south in Los Angeles, crews are working on a giant sinkhole that swallowed 2 cars Monday night. They actually made the hole a little larger as they attempt to stabilize the area. The concern is the next storm could cause even more of the road to collapse.
Here in Studio City, crews are filling trucks to remove the mud and debris left behind after part of a hillside gave way.
In Ventura County, cleanup is underway at Molly Englehart's farm, where mud covers just about everything.
It was up to our knees running over the road. No water for 2 years, and then more water than we got in 2 years in 24 hours is not the business.
And in the central California town of Merced, it could take days for the floodwaters to completely recede. This family has water in every room of their home. They are trying to salvage as much as possible. Forecasters say there are several more storms lined up off the west coast. They are expected to come ashore over the weekend and extend through Monday. Danya Backus, CBS News, Los Angeles.
The forecasters say the new round of rain will drench areas already saturated, creating even more problems.
Let's get to your afternoon headlines. A Triad woman faces charges after calling in a fake school shooting. The Randolph County Sheriff's Office says Brittany Andrews showed up at an elementary school and told staff she needed help. As the SRO responded, they learned someone called 911 saying there was a shooting inside the schools. Andrews told the SRO that she made the call and no shooting happened. The school went on a modified lockdown as law enforcement cleared the building. The Sheriff's Office charged Andrews with false report of mass violence. She was held on a $25,000 bond. Tonight, a Triad community remembers 3 people killed in a car crash. A neighborhood group will host a candlelight vigil at Denton Wesleyan Church for a mother and 2 children. They died last Friday in a crash along 109 in Lexington. They leave behind their husband and father. He released a statement yesterday saying he's a broken man. We will have live coverage of the event during WFMY News 2 at 6.
2 Alamance Burlington schools closed early today because of a water main break nearby. The district closed the Career and Tech Ed Center and Andrews Elementary when a line broke on McKinney Street. It's unclear how many people were impacted, but the line has since been repaired.
Great news on Damar Hamlin and his recovery. The Bills just announced that the football player who collapsed on the field was discharged from the hospital. Now, you'll remember, Hamlin went into cardiac arrest during Monday Night Football a little more than a week ago. He spent several days on a ventilator. He was moved back to Buffalo on Monday. His doctors say Hamlin passed all tests and can go home safely. Some great news for our Wednesday. We'll be right back.
You know, a lot of us have an ex that maybe didn't leave things the way they should have been left. Well, the San Antonio Zoo is giving you an opportunity for what they're calling symbolic revenge. It's a very popular program called Cry Me a Cockroach. It's a fundraiser. It is back. They do it every year. People can give a donation, name a cockroach or a rodent or possible some veggies, because it depends on what they're feeding the animals. And you name it after your ex, and then you watch it be fed to an animal at the zoo. The 20 angriest donors will even get an upgrade with a custom voiceover. The Cry Me a Cockroach fundraiser runs now until Valentine's Day, of course, and it's open to everyone. You don't have to live there in San Antonio. I thought this was very funny. I mean, I've seen it before. We've seen these things, but they said that you you get a video. It's like a digital Valentine's Day card, and you get to watch the cockroach with the name. You know, here's Jane, and watch her go in there, you know, or whatever.
I think a cockroach is the perfect bug because they're disgusting.
They are.
Nobody likes them, and a lot
Right.
of people don't like their exes. So I think a roach is pretty fitting for this.
No, they said like a mouse or a rat too, so I suppose that would be a good one.
That-
Yeah.
If you could have any animal eat your ex, what would it be?
Wait, each
Jeez.
paid to have your ex mauled by a lion? That's not what this is.
No.
They did tell us the most popular names, though. Like, so they took a count
Oh.
of how many, you know, of all the names, and Jacob for the guys was the most popular ex name to be used, and Sarah for girls.
Interesting.
Very
Isn't that funny?
interesting. I've never dated a Jacob before.
I did date a Sarah once for a hot minute, but that was like 3 dates.
And
that
she was
it.
nice.
So,
I heard she was nice.
very nice. Yeah, that doesn't count for an ex.
I think I would probably like if I, you know, if let's just say that I was to name a mouse, maybe a snake, right? Because then you see it like
Snakes.
strangle it first.
So you want your ex to have, well, your ex's name to have a
Torture.
slow and painful death. Who hurt you, Chad?
Nobody hurt me.
He
hurt
actually
you.
said he goes,
Yeah,
any
I
of his past relationships were good. They were
Right,
Yeah.
yeah.
amicable.
So, but I think it would be funny to see that because I mean, nobody. I mean, like, think of an animal that's going to just like take a cockroach in like one fell swoop. You know,
Oh,
and it's gone.
it's just a like,
Right. Yeah,
wait, I
like,
missed it. I didn't get
exactly.
my phone out
I
in
blanked.
time.
Yeah, like you want to see the
Yeah,
struggle.
Well,
that's slow and
You
painful.
put it in a movie editor
demise.
and you go frame by frame. That's what you do, one little frame at a time.
Yeah, I think this is really a lot of fun. Most people probably have fun with it because
Oh,
most
yeah,
people, you know,
joking
you're pretty
around.
cordial with your exes. And like I said, I left that in 2022.
Right.
It'd be funnier to take one of your friends' exes and then send them the video as a joke.
That would be.
That would be funny. All right, we're coming back.
Or your boss.
Your boss, ex-boss. You know, I don't know about you, but in the wintertime, probably the last thing I'm thinking about is gardening. But guess what? I would be wrong. There are things that we should be doing with our garden that could pay off later. So take a look. So I spoke with Adrienne Rothling with the Paul Senior Botanical Garden. She said there are actually some flowers that we should already be planting, and they're flowers that will fill your garden with color in just a few months.
Typically, people think about doing that in the fall before their ground freezes. However, here in North Carolina, that rarely happens. So as long as our ground is workable, we have the ability to go ahead and plant tulips and daffodils. Now, something to keep in mind, bulbs need a chilling period of 6 to 8 weeks. That way, those bulbs will still get their chilling requirements, and those bulbs already came in pre-chilled. So they have a little bit of a window there too. So we've already achieved their chilling, and we're going to achieve their chilling. So once middle of March hits, they're all going to wake up at their cycle because the warmer weather's upon us, warm soil temperatures and longer days. So the bulbs will be right on target for spring.
Now, she also says our recent cold snap we had a few weeks, that may be playing a trick on you. So you have to think twice before your natural tendency happens, and that's to prune your plants. They may actually come back just fine.
One of the plants that I recommend, or that I noticed right away, that like that Monday after the freeze, brown leaves on an evergreen maple. It's happened before. In my mind, I'm like, it'll be fine. Well, here we are, what, maybe 3 weeks later, and it's completely defoliating. All the leaves are dropping. So when people see leaf drop on what would normally be an evergreen plant, they panic. They're like, it's dead, it's not coming back. Well, there's a big difference between dead and dormant.
Yeah, and she said they will come back. So don't let that fool you if some of your evergreens look a little brown right now.
Eric, I think this is great news for a lot of our viewers, but I'll be honest, I'm not a planter. I'm not a gardener. I don't do any of that. What about you?
Same way. I wish I had a green thumb, but it's really just kind of like a brown thumb because everything I try to grow just dies.
Yeah, and you know, it's funny, I was in the newsroom and I was talking about she's talking about tulips and daffodils, that you plant those bulbs now and they come back in full force, and they like the cold weather for the next, 6-8 weeks. And our producer, Kayana, said to me the other, she goes, well, yeah, of course, Eric. I was like, well, I didn't know that. Never heard of this in my life.
Good fact. I know when I first moved here, my mom says, you got to get a plant for your apartment, because my mom and my sister are so into plants. And I said, no, I don't want one because I just don't trust myself that I will come to water it every day. But some people love plants. They even name them.
One thing that I can brag about, did you guys, when you were kids, on Arbor Day, get little pine trees? That we're supposed to plant at home.
Yep.
I still have mine at home. It's planted in my parents' backyard. It's like 2 stories tall.
Wow.
At this point. So that's the only thing I can keep alive.
That's huge.
And
I
I
love
didn't do
that.
anything to it. We just planted it, and it's 2 stories tall.
That's
Well, I
great.
would say you have a green thumb,
Thank
sir.
you.
I give you A+.
Thank you.
Cut
Sheldon,
down
you got
that
to talk
tree.
about weather, don't you?
I do. The Oscar music came on for a minute and it threw me. I thought that meant goodbye, we're going to commercial break. No, we got to talk about the forecast. How about temperatures? We're not all that bad right now. Some of these readings you can see mostly in the 50s, 55 degrees at PTI. We've got 57 in Burlington. And most of us in the mid-50s, low to mid-50s, I should say. Our northern counties above the Triad proper in the low 50s. And we go to the mid to upper 40s if you go to the higher elevations like Galax and Boone. All right, tonight, dropping down to 48. And you're thinking, wait a minute, our overnight low last night was in the lower 30s. Why are we so mild? Well, we're getting this blanket of clouds over us ahead of the next system, and the heat that the Earth absorbs from the sun all day long releases at night. But if that cloud bank is there, it can't really go and just radiate back out into space, so it keeps us a little bit on the warmer side. We'll take that, no arguments. 48 degrees tomorrow morning with a high of 61. Now with all of those clouds, we're seeing a chance of rain coming in. Let's go out to the big shot here. And if you go back to the west, here's the system. Looks like it's a good distance away, but it's moving at a pretty good clip. If you look at it graphically here with our surface chart, the high pressure stays to the south. Here's that warm area ahead of the front. That's why we're in the low 60s. But there's a chance, in fact, we're in a marginal risk for an isolated severe thunderstorm or two. Isolated, not widespread, but you could see one here or there with the passage of that front because it's a fairly sharp cold front, meaning that the air behind it is markedly cooler, and you'll see that right now on our 7-day. Let's show you. So 60s, low 60s tomorrow at 61. That's an 80% chance of, I'd say, second half of the day rain. You might be able to see it at any time, but it's more likely in the afternoon and evening. And in the overnight hours, I think early Friday morning, a 20% chance left of something on the backside of that, but it'll be breezy and much cooler at 49. Your weekend, mid to upper 40s, partly cloudy, not a bad Saturday, Sunday. If you have Monday off for the holiday there, 52 degrees. And then we build a mid-50s for Tuesday, Wednesday with another system skirting by and a 30% chance of a shower on Tuesday.
There are a couple interesting stories involving animals today. First, unwanted dogs in the country of Jordan finally have a home after an animal lover opened a special shelter. It houses dogs with special needs that can no longer survive on the streets. Injured dogs are treated by vets with the hopes of finding them forever homes.
Okay.
Such a cool thing, because I mean, if you think about it, I mean, really any animal shelter, I imagine, if you were to take a dog that had special needs there, it probably wouldn't do well because there are just so many animals in all these shelters.
I can speak on this because now that we have our dog, it has really added so much to our home. And I said, you know, it's almost like we had a house before, now we got a home. It just completes the whole thing. So I'm real big on any time you can rescue an animal.
I think about how often we drive around town, the streets, and you just see certain animals, dogs, cats that have no collar, no leash, and they're probably homeless and they could have some special needs and some problems. So I'm glad that there's shelters like this out there.
Absolutely.
So just storms didn't just hit houses and neighborhoods in California, they also forced evacuations at the Sacramento Zoo. Lemurs, meerkats, and otters all were forced to higher ground to seek safety from the damaging winds. Larger animals were forced inside their enclosures to ride out the storm. They now face the long road of cleaning up fallen trees and bringing everyone back to their rightful homes.
I think a lot of people might not think about those types of animals, right? I mean, you think about the families that are losing the houses and the people who have died, but I mean, the zoo animals, I mean, are dealing with similar situations.
And that's a lot of work because you have so many different type of animals and so many different species, and they have different needs and different concerns. So I really feel for the folks that work there having to get them all to a safe place.
Well, and sometimes, you know, they get them in enclosures. They can't keep them in those enclosures for too long a period of time because it's not healthy for them to be confined, but they have to do it. That's a lot of prep before a storm comes in, a lot.
I know, I see, you know, at the North Carolina Zoo, whenever we get like a big snowstorm, a lot of the animals will be outside because they enjoy that weather, but this is a much different situation.
Polar bears have no trouble.
Absolutely.
No trouble at all. We'll be back.
Mic check, Jalen, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Can you hear me? There it is. You good to go? Yeah, it's not on my jacket yet, so probably, sorry. Thanks, Coach. I'm trying to get your super times in.
A little bit of miscommunication where we can be. They don't want us inside during the vigil, which is fine. I think
about these flight delays and how to have patience, even though you feel like you're all tapped out of patience because of the holiday chaos.
Hi, welcome back to your 4 to 5. Eric Chilton here with Lauren Coleman, Chad Silver.
Hey everybody, we're on News 2, Fire Stick Roku, and we're also on that WFMY News 2 app.
Coming up this half hour, we're going to be previewing a new show coming to CBS, coming to News 2 tonight. It's an old, I guess it's a twist on an old game.
It is.
Lingo.
It's a family favorite.
Don't miss it this half hour.
It's a good one.
More on that in a moment, but first we're going to jump into some other news. Many are feeling the impact today following the nationwide grounding of U.S. flights. Over 4,000 flights were delayed according to the flight tracking website FlightAware. This issue all started when the FAA noticed a system outage of their Notice to Air Mission System program. That provides data to pilots in the air and air traffic control. There will most likely be continued delays as airports across the country try to get planes off the ground again. So far, the FAA has not discovered what caused this outage. Flights at PTI have resumed.
All right, we all thought that the flight travel headaches are over since the holidays are over, but yeah, not with that full FAA full ground stop this morning. The halt on flights caused disruptions in people's vacations and business travels, and many times it's more than an arrival inconvenience. It can cause missed work, vacations, and that means some people are out of money. This is what Blanca Cobb is talking about today. She has a master's degree in psychology. Let's get right to it. Blanca, what's a pitfall if you have back-to-back flight issues just in a span of a few weeks?
What happens is people generalize and they just think this is what's happening to the whole airline industry, that it's connected. And we know in this case it isn't. And some people might think it's just not worth flying anymore, which can cause more disruption because, as we know, flying is one of the fastest ways to get to where you want to go.
You know, people get so angry. It's almost like road rage in an airport. They get so upset with delays. I mean, how do we handle this?
It's human nature to find fault. So you find fault typically to the person closest to you. And that generally, in this case, will be like flight attendants or perhaps airport crew. But here's the thing you have to realize. They have nothing to do with this. So you taking out your anger or frustration is just going to really cause more chaos, more disruption. So instead of finding you another flight or making travel easier, it gets more complicated. So this is just where you just have to take a deep breath and just say, and move forward and say it's not this person's fault. It really comes to you to figure out how to manage that stress yourself.
All right, so let's talk about that, because now with all this news, people might anticipate that there's going to be some issues even before they get to the airport. What are some de-stressors that we can do before we even get to the flight?
What you can do is see what workarounds you do have with the schedule. So what that means is, let's say your flight might be delayed and you have to be for an in-person meeting. Go ahead and think ahead and say, well, maybe there's a way you can jump on a call or perhaps a Zoom call in the airport, so that way you're still a part of that meeting. Or let's say that you have some wiggle room in your schedule, or you make wiggle room in your schedule for a possibility of flight delay. So what that means is, instead of just getting to your destination and hit the ground running to go immediately to your vacation or a meeting, what you want to do is see if you have some time, give yourself some hours or possibly even overnight before you have a commitment. So that way you're not as stressed because you have workarounds. The whole point is to have workarounds when possible.
All right, very good. It always comes back to planning ahead, that's for sure. You can continue the conversation with Blanca on her Facebook page. It's Blanca Cobb, Body Language Experts.
You know, I've dealt with so many travel problems over the years that I've really started to prepare for travel problems even when they don't exist. So before I get ready to go on a flight, I'm like, okay, this is going to be delayed this many hours, so I'm going to download a bunch of shows on my tablet so I don't get upset about it. I have a backup set of like just ear pods ready to go because I know there are going to be issues.
One of the things that I like to do, which I've talked about before, is have that buffer day. Have a day off the day before you're supposed to go back to work, because one of the reasons when I'm flying back, the anxiety is I'm gonna be late for work, I'm gonna miss work, I'm gonna miss this appointment, I'm gonna do this. But if you set that buffer day aside, it will make the room for a delay or maybe even a canceled flight where if you have to stay overnight.
So I like, nobody says this but me, but I actually like connecting flights because I like to have a 2 or 3 hour block in between to get off the first flight and kind of decompress a little bit, do some things, get ready, and then get on the next flight together. So that's kind of my buffer time built in. I know, no one says they want to.
I always just get really nervous. I
crossed.
just get very nervous when I travel.
I'm a nervous flyer, so yeah.
I told you the anxiety, now it's just normal to be anxious when you go to the airport.
Yep, absolutely. Well, good luck on your next trip. All right, let's get to your 4 to 5 roundup now. First up today, some big news regarding the long-awaited completion of the Greensboro Urban Loop. DOT put a sign along Elm Street letting drivers know of a new traffic pattern tomorrow. DOT expects the final section of the loop to be finished on January 23rd, weather permitting, of course. It stretches from Highway 29 to Elm Street. DOT has worked for 10 years to complete the entire loop. When completed, it'll connect all corners of Greensboro and speed up travel times.
North Carolina will host the World University Games in 2029 after losing out the 2027 Games. The event will bring thousands of student athletes from all over the world to our state and the Triad. Events will be hosted in several cities, including Raleigh, Chapel Hill, and Greensboro. The Games will bring in more than $150 million across the state. The tennis-like sport pickleball continues to take the nation by storm, and the Triad is no exception. There is some work going on now at the Country Park in Greensboro. The plan is to have a brand new pickleball court. Forsyth County also has a plan in the works to join in on all the fun.
It is crazy how much this sport is exploding.
Huge.
I mean, by people of all ages. I think when pickleball first emerged, it was a lot of the older generation. My parents learned about it when they were they're snowbirds down in Florida, and they played every single day. But now a lot of very young people are getting involved in it too.
It's a thing, and so same thing. I thought, like, that's an old person sport, and then now so many of my friends are starting to do it, and their kids who are in their 20s are doing it. And I asked what it. They said no, it is legitimately a workout, and it's more. And I said because it's a smaller court than tennis, so I thought it'd be easier. They said no, it's all about placement, getting your ball in the right place, and the way the rules work out, you end up getting a workout with this. So I mean, one of our sales reps, Scott, does it all the time. He tells me you got to do this. Chris Kelly from Rock 92 is on me all the time.
Really?
Yes, they love it.
It looks like a lot of fun. I know you were saying it's a smaller court.
It is.
Think about tennis with ping pong or pinball or ping pong.
Ping pong paddles, except they're bigger.
Yeah,
yes.
Combined. It takes a lot of skill. I've never tried it. I'd love to. I've never really been a great tennis player, so this could be something I might be actually pretty good at.
You could do this. It's about placement, like precise placement, not power.
Power,
Yeah.
which a lot of people make the mistake of when they play tennis. They can hit it too hard and it goes over, the fence and all
Home
that
run.
good stuff. Yeah.
Yes.
And it's great that the
Wrong
city
sport.
of Greensboro and Winston-Salem are getting in on this and and altering some of their courts to be pickleball courts because they know it's so big.
You watch it be in the Olympics one day. That'd be funny.
Right. All right, well, so no matter who you root for, sports brings us together. Boy, have we seen the power of that this past week. One Winston-Salem family takes that idea to a whole new level. WFMY News 2's Jalen Gilkey met two brothers on a mission to win a championship.
Jamarian and Shamarius Peterkin have done everything together as long as they can remember. And this year, the two brothers are on a mission to bring Mount Tabor their first basketball state championship since 2009.
Ever since we was able to dribble ball, we've been dribbling ball ever since we was like 3, 4.
And now at the ages of 18 and 16, Jamarian and Shamarius Peterkin are a dynamic duo. A duo most of their opponents don't have an answer for.
It ain't nothing like playing with your brother. So that makes it feel good.
This season, the Spartans are off to a 14-1 start, and the Peterkin brothers are a major reason for their success.
I really be on like the defensive man, and like when it comes to offense, let them have it. So I rest on offense sometimes. So like I can keep the energy up on defense.
Head coach Andy Muse has been at Mount Tabor for over 3 decades, and he and the Peterkin family have a long history together.
They're a Mount Tabor family. I had their dad when he was at Mount Tabor so many years, I guess I'm telling my age.
Now, he's got the 2 oldest Peterkin boys leading the Mount Tabor program in a time when the school needs some positivity after a trying last 2 years.
For us to be a light for our student body is awesome. It's been great to see our students and our players come together to be Spartan strong throughout the adversity that our school community has underwent the last 2 years.
And one thing is for sure, the Spartan boys basketball team is stronger than ever.
I'm gonna say we're gonna put on a show every time you come watch it.
Wow, that atmosphere is there.
Yeah, and if you missed last night's game against Reagan, no worries. On Friday, the Spartans and the Peterkins take on Parkland at home at 7:30.
So tell me, you were saying during that story, you think one of those two may be making it to the big time?
Absolutely.
Really?
And me as the oldest brother, I hate to admit it, but I think the younger one, he might really be the superstar.
Wow,
I mean,
that's cool.
He's had a 30-point game already this season. He's just a sophomore, just a baby.
What position is he?
Shooting guard.
Okay.
But as Coach was saying, the defense and everything scrappy runs through the older brother JP, and everything on the offensive end runs through the younger brother Snook. So that's just the thing. They've been like that since they were young, they said.
Wow. And this is like in their blood. You were saying that the coach coached their father as well.
Yeah, so Coach Muse coached their dad. He's known their families long as before they even existed. So
that's
it's
amazing.
It's a beautiful connection to see.
Another brother, not just those two.
Yeah, they got a freshman.
Oh my
that's at the school too. He's about 6'2" and a half. He's on the JV team right now.
15
just because they didn't have any spots for him on varsity this year. But I mean, it's another one coming. So you're not gonna. not hear about the Peterkins out there.
Watch out for Mount Tabor.
Absolutely.
Listen, remember that name. Remember that name. All right, let's do a forecast real quick as we head into the next couple of days. Things will change for us as we see high temperatures spiking at about 61 tomorrow. That is way above our normal of 49 degrees. By the way, if you talk about stats and normals, this time of the year, January, coldest month of the year, so we'll see our coldest average high and low temperatures, which for us is usually in the 40s and the 20s. So that's kind of where we are approaching now, but that's not that, is it? No, 55 in Greensboro, we have 56 in High Point, Lexington at 57, Winston-Salem 57, Mount Airy 53, and Reedsville at 52. Even regionally, you're looking at coastside, Wilmington at 59. Look at Charleston, how nice and mild. Boy, wouldn't that be a beautiful day down there today? They didn't have the clouds that we are getting now. So 68 degrees in Charleston, one of my favorite cities. Heading into the hour by hour overnight, we think overnight lows are going to remain in the upper 40s. Big blanket of clouds over our area that will stay there through tomorrow and bring in the rain with the front coming in. It's an 80% chance of a shower, maybe even a thunderstorm tomorrow afternoon. Early Friday morning, a sprinkle, then a clear out and 49. And we're in the mid to upper 40s with partly cloudy skies this weekend.
Ice cold milk and an Oreo cookie, they forever go together like a classic combination. Cheerwine, Pepsi, both of these companies are based right here in North Carolina. And when you think of drinks in the Tar Heel state, these two probably come to mind. How about sweet tea? You know what? You could make an argument it belongs in the conversation, but there's another drink that claims the top spot in North Carolina. Check this tweet out from the North Carolina Museum of History. It shows how Pepsi, Cheerwine, and sweet tea feel about milk being the official drink of the state of North Carolina. It came up today because today is National Milk Day. So what do you think about milk as the official beverage?
That's
think
fun.
so.
It's
I've never heard of that
Am I
before.
back in Wisconsin?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I've never
exactly.
heard North
Exactly.
Carolina is known for its cows.
Yeah, I would think it'd have to be Cheerwine or Pepsi.
Right, you would think so. Now, of course, North Carolina is not the only state to claim milk. In fact,
California.
out of the 30 states that have an official beverage on the books, milk is the beverage of 22.
Oh my
Wow.
goodness.
So
Weird.
milk is like the big winner. What are some of the other state beverages? Well, Ohio claims tomato juice. Nebraska claims Kool-Aid. Indiana has water. Florida has orange juice. That's a given, right? And Alabama has some sort of state-made whiskey. So, Chad, do you know anything about this whole Kool-Aid thing?
It was invented in Nebraska.
Okay, so that makes sense.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Nice.
Yep, that's all I know about it.
Uh-huh.
So I hope you're not looking for any more answers.
But you drank the Kool-Aid while you were in Nebraska, right?
I did, yeah.
So the flag and the state seal were done in the 1800s here in North Carolina. But then really the next designations were like bird, state colors. Those weren't done until the 30s and the 40s. So there was a long time where we just didn't have stuff, right? So the website netstate.com has a list for every state and their designations. We're talking flowers, plants, festivals. We have a state shell. We have a state rock. We even have a state toast.
And what is it?
So the toast is here's to the land of the longleaf pine.
Oh,
Right.
that kind of toast.
I thought you
meant, I was like, is it Texas toast?
Right.
Avocado toast?
Right, no, that kind
French
of toast.
toast?
Like, we're going to cheers.
Okay.
Oh, that's cool.
When I was a kid, I thought that was fascinating. In 4th grade, when we did our North Carolina unit or whatever,
Yeah.
I remember the Scotch bonnet being the state shell.
That's correct.
Yeah, I don't
It
know why I
is.
remembered that
That's
weird.
a Scotch bonnet.
bonnet.
Is,
Never even
yes,
heard that.
it's a long
pretty
shell. It's
shell.
about this long or so. It usually is kind of freckled and stuff like that.
Yep.
A lot of people collect them. So it takes the legislature to make something official. So yes, that's lawmakers using their time to make a state beverage. Some might see it as a waste, but you know what? It also helps, like, think about the dairy farmers, right?
Yeah.
Or whatever. Or think about the blueberry farmers. We sell the state berry.
Or the ocean. I mean, we've got this great shell.
That's right. That's the tourism. And then all
Scotch
those
bonnets.
places get to like sell the Scotch bonnet.
I wish that some high school's team's mascot was the Scotch bonnets.
I'm
I'll
sure
bet
there
there
is.
is, yeah.
I bet there is one on the coast.
Or
think so?
a minor league baseball
yeah.
team. That'd be perfect.
Oh, yeah, that'd be good.
Well, you can do your own research, find out what states have certain things. It'll be on the website in just a minute.
A new game is on the rise. Tonight, the original word-twisting game show Lingo returns. In the series, contestants will compete to decode 5-letter words for big cash prizes. Host RuPaul has your inside look.
Let's play Lingo! This is a dream gig for me. What's your answer?
Salutatorian.
Excuse me? Now, we are the original word game, baby. For those of you who are not familiar with Lingo, Lingo is a word game that gives you the first letter and then 5 tries to find the answer to what that word is.
River, R-I-V-E-R.
The 2 teams that bank the most money in each round will earn a coveted spot in the Lingo Showdown at the end of the night, where one duo will walk away with both teams' winnings, plus an extra $50,000 jackpot. Let me warn you in advance, this game is so addictive.
Oh, I don't know. My mind's going blank. No!
This is a brand new Lingo. It's improved, it's faster paced, and I also bring a little bit of my kooky sass to this game.
I got bills to pay.
Okay, yeah, now you're talking my language.
We're gonna go with money.
Money.
Viewers will love Lingo because it's more loose, it's more fun, it's more personable, and it really is a game for everyone. Did I blow your mind?
Don't miss the series premiere of Lingo. It's tonight at 11 p.m. right here on CBS.
No, 9 p.m.
What?
It's at 9 p.m.
Oh, 9 p.m.
Yeah.
Today is January 11th.
That's right.
So that's where I had that mix up.
Yeah, hey, look,
We're gonna
usually
preempt
11
your
is
newscast.
no news tonight? What?
No, watch
9
Chad in Sydney tonight
After, right.
at 11 after watching Lingo.
It's basically Wordle, but I love it.
Yeah, I love when they bring old games back.
Me too.
You know, like they've been doing, I don't know if you've been watching lately, but they've been doing Prices Right at night.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
And they do it on our channel, the best channel. And so, and they just have all these, and last week they actually had people who have played before who didn't win come back for like a second chance.
Oh, nice.
cool.
I love that. I love Lingo. I don't know if you all ever watched the original one or the one that I think it stopped airing around 2011. I used to watch the reruns on GSN and play along with it, but it kind of had a generic look. But this RuPaul setup looks very glamorous and looks like something I'm definitely going to want to watch.
Is there any game show, even in the past, that you would love to be a contestant on?
Family Feud.
Family Feud.
That was fast.
Feud.
I am really, really good at Wheel of Fortune.
Are you? My wife is good at that.
Really?
Like really freaking good at Wheel of Fortune.
Oh, we're gonna have you do a little challenge one day.
Yeah. Let's put this to the test.
That's my game show that I'll do with you guys. We'll spin this table will become a big wheel.
Oh, I like it.
That's the way it works. All right, let's talk about our forecast. We're looking at some showers on the way tomorrow. You know, the big story for tomorrow, we have to watch. The timing of this front obviously would lend itself toward it, especially will be so warm and humid on the front side of it, that we could see a thunderstorm or two. And the Storm Prediction Center is putting us in a marginal risk for that for tomorrow. So just watch for that. That'll be your Thursday afternoon time frame. The setup, today we're well above normal, should be in the upper 40s. We're seeing mid to upper 50s across the area and really across the region. Look at all the warm air back down south and west. So Jackson, Mississippi and Montgomery, Alabama, 78 and 75 degrees. That just shows you that there's a lot of warmth that could stream up our way. Overnight lows will remain fairly mild as well. We'll stay in the upper 40s. I want to skip ahead with our graphic so I can just show you real quick as we look at this. Marginal thunderstorm, severe thunderstorm risk. That'll be between 4 and 7 p.m. for your Thursday.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3 to the 4 to the 5 to the 6, 8, 7, 8.
We are taking bets on where Chilton's going on his secret trip. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
345, where is Chilton going on the top secret trip? Ooh.
What? Oh, wherever Chilton is going, he should check with his airline to make sure that there's no delays to his flight. Mic check, mic check, mic check.
Yeah. And then as you want to go over the live at the beginning one more time. Mic check, this is where the main water break happened that cut the day short for nearly one.
It's time for my 2 cents. Have you ever gotten in an argument with a friend or colleague over a difference in opinion? The difference in opinion can be something as small as whether sweet potato pie or pumpkin pie is better, or it can be as big as whether Americans should receive student loan forgiveness. Having different beliefs and standpoints is normal. We are not all the same. We don't all come from the same backgrounds. We don't all have the same interests and passions. How you manage differing opinions is what matters most. Just yesterday, a producer and I had a difference of opinion on how we should cover a story. I felt strongly one way, he felt strongly in a different way. Eventually, we reached a conclusion on how to present it to you in a newscast in a way we were both happy with. Coming to that resolution took both of us stepping outside of ourselves. It's easy to get emotional and place blame when there is a disagreement. Often those feelings are rooted in something that's been said rather than the opinion itself. It's important to use positive language when in disagreement. Don't listen just to respond, but listen to understand. If we could all commit to having an open mind and take responsibility for our own emotions, I think this world would be a much better place. That's my 2 cents. That's your 4 to 5. WFMY News 2 at 5 starts now. Rain, winds, and storms on the way when you need to be weather aware.
After nearly a decade of construction, the Greensboro Urban Loop is just days away from becoming a full circle. We have the opening date of the final section.
A water main